A tiny island you've never heard of will determine whether or not you can afford to fill your tank at the pump on Monday. All that on the Foreign Report. Let's do it. Welcome back to the Foreign Report, your weekly foreign policy show that gives you all the gory details of geopolitics with hopefully some laughs along the way. I am your host, Seena Ghaznavi, and with us is our co-host, Travis Irvine, Columbia Journalism School grad. I am a producer, comedian, lawyer, and also we are here with our legs.
That's right. Not many laughs today, but lots of legs. At least four. Look at that.
I would say for the audio listeners, we both have hairy legs that have been wearing pants all season.
Yeah, so for the visual audience, they've been demanding this. They've been demanding
They
legs.
have?
Yeah.
What do you mean, in the comments?
Well, we warned them, in the comments that you don't read.
I don't read them.
I read the comments,
Never
so you
seen
don't
a
have
comment in my life.
Absolutely. And they want legs because we did give them a little teaser that, it's going to get hot in L.A. soon.
Yeah.
And we got this brand new, beautiful studio. There's going to be some legs at some point. And today, I came into the office in shorts, and you popped down the stairs, rolled down the stairs. At the point Ed Larson is like, what's going on out there? And you were wearing shorts. And I was like, yes, today is leg day.
That's what happens. Wear the shorts, rip a few lines of creatine, and let's do the show.
This is what makes us in the manosphere. We talk about our legs, we talk about our creatine addictions, and we get it all out there with some foreign policy.
Should we be man-spreading
I think we should start saying this show is big on laughs and with some foreign policy along the way. Hopefully some foreign policy on the way. I also want to thank everyone for all the positive comments about the beard.
No.
In the comments that Seena does not read, this show is 19% funnier with me having this beard.
And we're going to go back to the 1900s with that beard.
That's my plan. I'm taking my horse and buggy. I'm getting out of here.
You should probably just grow it longer so we can at least get some cred in, the UAE or, another Gulf state. They could get you in there.
If I look like an Ayatollah at Coachella, I'll take it. That's what the audience wants. That's what the audience is going to get. It is very hot now, though, and that is when I do hate the beard. That's when I hate the beard.
You know what? I love the beard.
Wait a minute. You love the beard? I'm shaving this thing off right now on the show, on air. I did appreciate someone said, compromise is all about what relationships are. Shave half the beard.
Oh, there we go.
So I'll just shave the half that you look at.
Wait a minute.
And then I'll leave this half.
I said just shave it. Vertical shave.
Yeah.
Not even a trim down.
I could go mutton chops, but it's not.
It's
all in the neck. It's all a neck beard.
It is. Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Is it all a neck beard?
For the audience who can't see it, that's what it is.
And for the audience that can't see it, you're welcome. Because
fair enough. This show is so much funnier with the beard. I remember you and Grant Gordon yelling at me.
We did not yell at you.
Yes, you did.
Maybe we had a few drinks.
I was there, and I was being yelled at by my friends, and I said, I am funnier with this beard. So you're welcome, Seena, for growing comedy gold on my face to this sad-ass show. Let's talk about it
I do remember that night, by the way. ForeignReportShow.com, the Foreign Report, lpn@gmail.com. That's where you can sign up for our newsletter. We've got a great interview that we're going to record this week, and we're going to put the full version of it on the for the free subscribers and stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff you'll get on the newsletter, and you'll get the updates on Fridays from producer Danielle. She'll do a little write-up, what you missed, that kind of a thing. So sign up for it. It's a good way to let you know about what's happening in our lives, what we're reading, what we're watching, that kind of a thing. All right. I want to talk about Kharg Island.
Kharg Island, yar!
I did a video about Persian pirates.
Oh, yeah? Are they all on Kharg Island?
Well, because the administration keeps saying, we destroyed their navy. And I'm like, bruh, it's like...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we played that clip of Trump. He's like, they're at the bottom of the sea. It's like, yeah, that's what happens to boats when you sink them.
Yeah, but it's like, what... No one until this war has ever been like, you know what you got to watch out for? The Iranian Navy. Right. And my whole thing is like, are we going to have like Persian pirates storming the beaches of Hilton Head, kidnapping little white women?
Right.
I don't think
That's
so.
That's a very far way to go. And I appreciated you're doing these great videos on your social media.
Yeah.
Because I had also heard from fellow LA comedians that, oh no, Iran's going to attack the Oscars with drones. And then I watch your videos like, that would be so dumb. Also, Americans do a great job of killing ourselves.
Yeah.
And
we
each
really
other,
do.
obviously.
Oh yeah, Karen Bass, the LA mayor, was like, "We are tracking the situation." You know, so stupid.
Oh yeah, I got a tracking. Yeah, they're all in Iran. Job done. Give me that job.
Yeah, they're flying into Baghdad. What are we doing here?
Not Burbank. Not Bob
Burbank.
Hope.
Yeah. Shout out to Steven at the Burbank Airport. Love you, brother. Okay, so A block, let's do it.
All right.
I want to talk about this Kharg Island.
Kharg Island. I hope you're prepared for me to do that every time you say Kharg.
Let's see.
Because this is actually very serious.
Dude, this is so serious.
All right.
It's very sad.
Let me get me black beard ready.
Because I think I'm like disassociating with comedy right now because.
Oh, you don't think that's what I'm doing? I'm doing pirate voice. I'm doing it for the whole episode.
It's so upsetting because this is going to affect everyone. And Kharg Island is just a microcosm of what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz because not just oil goes through the strait. You've got fertilizer. You've got other types of goods that go through the Strait of Hormuz.
Underwear, I heard. Like people need to stock up on underwear now.
Do you even wear underwear?
Not on days like this, baby. It's leg day.
But that's gonna, be a problem for food production.
Everything.
So let's hear from the president because I'm sure he has a very reasonable way of describing what's happening with Kharg Island because, as you probably heard, we struck the island 20 miles off the coast of Iran.
Right.
We struck just their military sites, not the oil pipelines.
And we're going to jump into why this Kharg Island, as much as I love to do the pirate voice, this is incredibly significant for not just the entire war / conflict / what do you call this again? It's not
holy war.
Oh yeah, 1,000-year holy war.
Yeah.
But this is like also clutch to Iranian economy now, but also whatever comes next.
Exactly.
We attacked Kharg Island and knocked it literally, destroyed everything on the island except for the area where the oil
Not true.
is. I call it the pipes. We left the pipes. We didn't want to do that, but that we will do that. We can do that on 5 minutes notice. It'll be over.
That's how unprepared you are. 5 minutes notice.
Okay.
Someday rebuilding that country, I guess we did the right thing. But
I guess.
It may not stay that way. Just one simple word and the pipes will be gone too, but it'll take a long time to rebuild that.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes. They can be blown up in 5 minutes.
I can't stand this man so much. He is such an
so
awful
dumb,
human. He's so
man.
dumb. So Kharg Island
stupid.
is so important. It's 5 miles long. It's a coral outcrop. So coral reef.
So this is Kharg Island was in my algorithm this week, which is why I was so excited that you were going to jump into like the actual history of it. But for me, I'm reading about Kharg Island, and yeah, it's a coral island. That's literally the island I worked on in the Bahamas.
Yeah,
which is the same deal. These coral reefs would build up, and then they leave limestone, but they just grow on top of each other. They leave islands that, like Kharg Island, it can collect fresh water from the rain and has a layer of fresh water on top of it in this porous limestone rock, and it can support life on its own.
And it's one of the only places in the Persian Gulf with natural fresh water. And it's been a trading post since ancient Persia, ancient 500 BCE.
That's crazy.
So after that, there was all kinds of different colonial powers tried to take it over, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the British, and there was a modern transformation that occurred. So the Shah, that was installed by the United States.
1953.
Yes, and the U.S. companies at the Amoco, remember that? Gas
Do you
station?
remember Amico?
So
There's still some around.
Oh, yeah.
Here and there.
So they turned it with U.S. engineering. U.S. engineers built it into the world's largest offshore crude terminal in the 1960s.
Wow.
In the Iran-Iraq War.
1980s.
1980s, Saddam Hussein.
Our boy at the time.
Hey, we were helping him with corn subsidies.
Hello, my name's Donald Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Saddam Hussein. Shake hands.
I shook his hands and I looked right into his eyes.
What'd he say?
He said hello.
Oh, cool.
How are you?
Oh, what a nice guy.
Saddam Hussein bombed Kharg Island 2,800 times.
Yikes.
And
with probably our weapons.
The Iranians at that time were even fixing it in real time. They were
Wow.
welding pipes back together within a few hours
That's
to
how
make sure the
clutch it
oil.
is.
Yes, that's how important it is.
So how much of their oil goes, like percentage-wise,
It's
goes through to Kharg? It goes from the whole country straight to Kharg?
90 to 95% of Iran's total crude oil
That's
exports.
like all of it.
That's basically all.
That's
of it.
insane.
Yeah.
To
It's-
one little island?
Yes.
Diversify your bonds,
You would
Iran.
think, but it works so well. It's a perfect segue because it's only 20 miles off the coast. They can get the pipes over there exactly. Like it works so incredibly
It's only
well.
like 500 miles from Tehran.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
okay.
this is like something to really think about because it got hit 2,800 times and it couldn't destroy it. And again, this is an ancient island that the old Persian Empire used to defend its position, again, because it has fresh water. So if you can have fresh water, that means you could sustain life
Wow.
on the island.
Right.
Right? So that means you could sustain a defensive position on the island. If Saddam Hussein bombed it 2,800 times, now it's apparently the U.S.'s turn. So, like, what is the deal with this?
Yeah.
And as you said, and we just talked about, 90 to 95% of Iran's crude oil exports goes through there. Now, you may think, America, why do we want to shut that down?
Right, because as the Lindsey Graham quote we read last week in a hilarious Lindsey Graham impression.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for that support. Ham and biscuits, y'all. It's back. But it's crucial to whoever comes next.
Yeah.
You topple the regime, you want to hand it over to the democratically elected people.
If this fever dream of airstrikes leads to regime change actually happens,
you need to let them have an economy that works.
they will not have anything. If you cut them off now, if you cut off Kharg Island now, or if you bomb it into oblivion or whatever, if you airstrike it and you blow it up or whatever, you starve the whole country worse than they've already been starved. Remember a few episodes ago how bad 1.2 million rials is $1.
Right.
So this is like, it's just things are so bad for them.
And it's just also ancient part of culture. It's like such an old island. You lose all that history, that geography.
All right, I wanted to show you this map, Travis, that we had produced.
Love a map.
I love a map. So what you're seeing, again, sorry for the audio listeners, but we'll include it in the video. You'll be able to see this. What we're really looking at is Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, and Oman, Yemen, right?
Everything surrounding the Persian Gulf.
Everything is surrounding the Persian Gulf. And what you'll see here is as we go through, this is the Strait of Hormuz, this tiny little elbow that connects the Persian Gulf to the high seas.
Wow.
Okay?
That's
And
tiny.
this is where all of the stuff that comes out of Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Iraq and Kuwait and Iran comes through it, and all these tankers go through there. And on this map, I'm showing you the green is the oil areas and the red is gas, because natural gas is obviously a huge part of it as well. And that's how they get out. Okay, so all of these things have to figure out a way to get from land to the sea. They get loaded up. Not everything goes to Kharg Island, obviously, just Iran stuff mainly, but they all come out and the tankers load up in whatever ports they have.
Right.
Okay?
Something like, I think we said on the show last week, like 20% of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz.
Exactly. So what you're seeing is like this whole thing. Now, one of the things that's also come up that's really interesting is that Saudi Arabia built a pipeline from the Persian Gulf, because Saudi Arabia has known for a long time that this Strait of Hormuz is a real problem for them. Because if Iran ever decides, because they've always beefed, right?
Right. And Iran, I feel, has always said, yo, we will mess with this strait if you mess with us.
Don't make us.
Everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they built this pipeline from the Persian Gulf all the way to the Red Sea.
Wow, they built it all the way across the entire country.
Exactly, which is, you would think, genius, right? And
yeah, but the Red Sea also has a bunch of small, tiny areas that you can only sneak things out as well.
But the problem is you have to, right now, which is the issue, you have to get all the tankers that are in the Persian Gulf right now, you have to get them out of the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh, no.
And into
the other side.
To the other side, so they can get into this pipeline.
Oh,
so
boy.
that, in and of itself, is a fundamental problem, right?
No, right. Because then to get through that tiny area, isn't that where all the Houthis are?
Well, yeah, it's where the Yemen, and that's where like another issue is.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole, and you can see the blue dots here are the ships that are moving now. I've seen satellite footage where you can see this, like, it looks like lemmings. These, like,
all
little...
the boats are just like, I gotta get over there.
They gotta go.
I gotta get to the Red Sea.
We gotta
The Persian
do it.
Gulf's no good anymore. We're going to the Red Sea, baby.
Yeah. And so the UAE also has its own little pipeline that connects from them
Ooh, and it
out to
skips
the other side of the Strait of Hormuz.
Skips the strait.
Yes. And so they're able to, in and of themselves, just the UAE, pump, I believe it's 1.5 million barrels a day through that pipeline.
Okay.
And then the Saudi Arabia does 5 million barrels a day. So that's about 6.5 million barrels a day. But normally they're doing 20 million barrels a day through the strait.
Whoa, right.
So you think 6.5 through these pipelines sounds great, but when you're normally doing 20 million, not so much.
No, not enough.
Okay, that's the problem with the strait. Now let's zoom in on Kharg Island. Now this is satellite imagery.
It's so tiny.
This is satellite imagery from Bloomberg that I found, and you could see. And this is the thing that I really wanted to bring up. They're going to zoom in here. This is just from like a few days ago. You could see that ships are still getting oil loaded onto them right now.
Wow. So even though our fearless leader said, "Oh, we've bombed Kharg,"
Yes.
the pipes are still there.
The pipes. And
we call them pipes.
Here's the crazier thing, Travis, is that Iran is still like shipping oil through the strait and out to the high seas.
Sure, because they're probably fine with their boats going through the strait.
Yeah, of course. But you know what? The United States isn't stopping those boats.
Well, of course. We need the oil. Everyone needs the oil. I assume we're not buying Iranian oil, but someone somewhere in this world wants that oil.
Thank you.
I have a whole rant about an economy based on all this oil, but we'll save that for later.
But that's the really critical point, is that Iranian oil is still going out, evading sanctions. And who buys Iranian oil?
Everybody?
China, especially.
Ooh.
80% of all of Iranian oil is bought by China.
Oh.
So how do they do this? Are there sanctions?
Yeah,
involved?
I thought there were sanctions, but I think I was reading about this, and you're going to get to it. Are they like swapping it on different boats?
We call it like I'm the guy. But
They call it.
It's the shadow fleet. We heard about this with Venezuela as well.
Yeah.
And all it is you turn off your transponder that says who you are, and then you just keep, boating out to sea.
Okay.
And then in the middle of the ocean,
You flip it back on?
no, they wait for the Chinese vessel to meet them in like a romantic oil rendezvous.
It's ships in the night.
And they are ships in the night, but they don't pass.
Right.
They see each other. They say, hello.
Hello.
And they say, hello.
Okay.
They connect via a pipe and very dangerously transfer the oil from the Iranian boat to the Chinese vessel. And then the Chinese vessel takes the oil, which, by the way, you're at the high seas. What if there's a storm?
Sure. Or a giant United States military watching you the entire time.
But China gets this oil, which at a very cheap price,
Right.
which isn't right now.
And the military's not going to just go bomb a Chinese boat. That would be...
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
The Chinese boat then takes it back to their Chinese port. And you know what they do? They say, hey, that was from Oman.
Oh.
They just make up some other
A
country.
different country. Yeah.
And they say that's
well,
where it
Oman
came.
is a real country.
Yeah.
Even though it sounds made up. So I'm always like, oh my, Oman? It's a real place.
They just make it up. So the U.S., and here's why the U.S. is allowing this. Because if you don't allow it...
I mean, you don't want to mess with China.
No, but if you don't allow it, then you're reducing even more supply in the global oil market.
Oh, right.
And that's going to spike prices
Even
even
more.
And you know who...
Because then China's going to be like, well, we need our oil from somewhere.
And they'll go buy it from wherever it is.
Yeah.
And you know who loves the price of oil going up?
Probably oil producers.
Vladimir Putin.
Oh, no. He's also an oil producer. It's almost like Trump's making all the people he likes very happy with this entire thing.
There was a whole strategy, I think even during Trump's first term, where they were going to mess with oil to like flood the global market with oil to lower the price so that it would financially ruin Vladimir Putin. This was Trump 1. This was, and I think people were saying like, oh, that's crazy. Why are you doing this and that?
Right.
And they wanted to drill more to produce more oil to flood
Drill,
the market.
baby, drill.
Yeah. So you could say the environmental problems there, but for them, that perspective, the strategic perspective was, okay, let's lower the price of oil so Vladimir Putin can't make money. This is the complete opposite.
Right.
He can now finance the Ukraine war for even longer.
Man, that's right. I think I was reading like they made like 160 billion or some million, something crazy within like a week.
Isn't it funny though that I make this mistake too, million and billion. I say
At some point for us, what difference does it
what
make?
difference?
Well, I could use an extra $1,000 any given day.
Which,
Million billion? I don't even know anymore.
we should just call it a million billion.
Sure.
So
Making hella money though.
they're making hella money.
More than rubles too.
And so it's kind of crazy to me that America doesn't need the oil, but we are impacted by the oil.
Right.
Your friends in Ohio, my friends in Pennsylvania.
Our friends here in LA.
Our friends here, especially in California.
Gas is spiked.
Spiked.
Yeah.
And so that's where the price at the pump is really impacted. From the communal oil that the whole world kind of pulls from and has to pay the price for.
Right. And even though there's different types of crude, it's all around $100 a barrel.
It's
right
about
now.
$100 right now.
Yeah, and it's kind of fluctuating.
And I think 2 months ago or 3 months ago
It was like 67?
60 some dollars.
Yeah, no, I was reading about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have bought U.S. oil when it was $1 during the pandemic.
I know.
And that's my other thing. There's probably stock market people who are making money off this whole oil going up too. I mean,
oh yeah. I don't even know how
I just imagine Trump be like on the phone with oil executives, be like, "You're gonna be very happy. You're gonna make a lot." And then he gets on the phone with Putin, who's like, "You're gonna be very happy. I'm gonna make you."
Well, also the American oil companies, though, they have their tankers there, and Trump has been saying to them,
"Let them through.
Just go through.
Yeah,
Don't
just go through.
Just man up and go through." He's like,
Just man up.
which is so crazy to me.
Yeah.
That these are like billions of dollars, not millions, billions.
These
of
are actual billions.
These are
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
billions of dollars. Just the ships, and not to mention the oil that's within the ships. And so you don't risk that. They even did this thing where they were insuring oil that was going through the strait through some international organizations. But even then, these companies are like, no, I'm not doing it. Insurance companies are also dropping insurance from other ships, so these ships aren't even going to attempt to go through the strait.
Because they're not insured.
They're not insured.
Man, that's a whole crazy thing to think about.
Yeah.
I gotta insure my giant boat in case it gets bombed by whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. And
Bomb insurance. I didn't know that was gonna be a thing.
there's also this other strategy or this theory that's happening where
Ooh, this is where we can have fun because we are a conspiracy comedy network.
that is
Because I've been having some conspiracies in my brain too.
the idea that the United States would not bomb Kharg Island, but take it over.
Uh-huh.
Boots on the island.
Oh, boots on the ground?
Boots on the island.
I was told no boots on the ground.
Boots on the island.
Sandals on the island.
Flip-flops on the island.
Hear me out. It's a soft war. It's more of a vacation for our troops. We love our troops.
White sandy beaches, a little oil.
Have a coconut.
Okay, Travis, tell me.
Yeah.
You're a military expert.
Yep.
How would you get troops to Kharg Island to take it over?
Parachute them.
Shoot them.
Parachute them down
Yeah.
from the air or,
The Expendables.
hear me out,
Okay.
rafts,
Okay.
floaties. I'm back on vacation mode.
Muscle floaties.
Can you, with this hot weather where my brain is right now, I want to get to the beach in Santa Monica so bad.
That's a dirty beach.
It's the dirtiest beach.
The
That's what
water's
makes it
very
so
bad there.
fun. I don't get in the water. That's my
So,
trick.
You can't just take a boat to Kharg Island because they closed the strait. They
Oh,
got
right.
drones flying
So cruise
everywhere.
ships can't go there.
Cruise ships can't. There's no Carnival Cruise
Got
Line.
drones
Kharg
everywhere.
Island.
Okay, so air's off limits. The water's off limits.
They have talked about, I've been reading about this, an
Teleportation?
amphibious military marine unit that has like a amphibious aircraft or amphibious vehicle.
You're talking frogs. You gonna send in Kermit the Frog to Kharg Island? You just took. I've seen this movie. It's called Muppet Treasure Island.
Exactly.
And I have referenced that movie before on this show last year.
And to explain this, I want to play a clip from John Mearsheimer, who is this professor.
I've been sending you these clips because he went on
Yes.
Chris Hedges' show, and he's been going off. He's on Democracy Now. He's everywhere.
He's
right
everywhere.
now.
And
Let's
this
get
guy,
him.
he is like, I've disagreed with him. I've been like, this guy's very pro-Russia, or this guy's very this. But you know what? Like, he's extremely smart, and the way he speaks is very compelling. He's been right way too many times.
Oh, dear.
And
well, that's
so-
always fun.
I want to play this clip.
Tough time to be right all the time.
It's a little bit of a longer clip, so
Okay.
bear with us. But what he's saying sums up this whole Kharg Island and what we would do if we would potentially try to seize Kharg Island. Ooh. Now, remember, the United States administration, the Trump administration, thought when we parked all these boats outside of the Persian Gulf next to Iran that they would come running to negotiate.
Right.
That the Islamic Republic would be like, wow, this is crazy. We don't want this.
Right.
We don't want any of this smoke.
Right.
In reality, they were like, finally, we get the smoke.
Right.
Finally, our holy war is here at our front door. And so this is the same thing. We're threatening Kharg Island. We're threatening their economic prosperity. We're threatening their very, like the very dollars they make every day. And we're expecting them to be like, okay, well, we don't want to mess with our oil money.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
They don't. Yeah.
They don't care.
They don't care, man.
This is their existential war.
God.
They will sacrifice everyone in their country to defeat the United States.
Wow.
And this is the fundamental flaw that I don't understand why no one's talking about. Okay, let's play this Mearsheimer clip. And he's on the Tom Switzer show. It's called Switzerland with Tom Switzer, and our Aussie fans may know this guy. I think he's hilarious.
So he does do comedy shows.
And
Come
if
on.
we were really serious about doing anything about Kharg Island militarily, we would have to invade the island. And I think that's almost impossible to do.
Well, hang on, but there is already talk, correct me if I'm wrong,
hang
John,
on.
there is already talk of reinforcements heading to the Gulf, additional US warships, possibly several thousand US Marines with amphibious capabilities. I mean, do you think that
Amphibious.
Washington might seriously
Frogs.
consider seizing and holding this Kharg Island militarily?
Well, I raised that question to myself, Tom, and I looked at a map and I said, how would you do this? First of all, this Marine Expeditionary Force that's being sent to the Gulf is coming out of East Asia. So you, as a good Australian, want to realize that what we're doing is weakening our containment policy in East Asia. Second point I'd make to you is it's coming with this amphibious assault ship.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get the amphibious assault ship through the straits, right? It has to get into the Gulf. It's outside the Gulf.
Right.
It has to come through the
Right.
Strait of Hormuz. I don't see how you do that. But let's assume they airlift the
This is- wait.
Marines.
I love the way he thinks, because he's like, that's never going to happen. But let's assume we live in a fantasy world and that can happen.
Okay.
to the Saudi side of the Persian Gulf. And then they decide that they're going to take those troops and send them across the Persian Gulf to attack Kharg Island. Because that's the only way you get to Kharg Island. You have to go from Saudi Arabia across the Persian Gulf.
Right.
I looked at a map. It's between 100 to 135 miles from the Saudi coast to Kharg Island.
And it's something like 20 miles away
I
from
like that he likes maps.
Yeah, I think 15 miles, but it may be 20 miles. What I saw said
maybe 20 kilometers.
Yeah, I think that's right. It was
All right,
20
guys, keep it moving.
But
Millions, billions.
how do we
Who cares?
get the Marines from Saudi Arabia across the Persian Gulf without them getting shot up? And then let's assume that's all wrong. Let's assume we come up with a magical formula and we take Kharg Island.
Yes.
What? So what?
Well, I was going to say, would they be extremely vulnerable to Iranian missiles, drones, and other attacks?
Would who?
The Americans, if the ground troops took the island.
They certainly would.
Wow.
It's just like they certainly would.
Man, so that guy's fun.
Yeah.
Let's get him for the show.
I think I'm going to ask him.
I've seen him. He's in my algorithm all the time now. He really,
He's
and I like
constantly
that he
doing
likes
hits.
maps because we like maps.
We love maps here because it's good to visualize what's happening around
Especially from a military strategy point. It's like, yeah, how do you even, if Kharg Island is the lung that is putting oxygen into the Iranian regime,
Yes.
how do you puncture a lung if you can't get anywhere near it?
Exactly. And even if you do get on the island,
Then what do you got? You got to hold the island.
you're going to hold the island,
Oh,
and then
boy.
the only leverage you have on the island is if you hold the island but don't destroy
Everything.
the oil.
Right.
And
The pipes.
the pipes.
The pipes, Danny boy.
So if I'm the Islamic Republic and I'm a radical revolutionary Shia Muslim cleric that's there running stuff, because there's only
You're probably just like
They're
the
like,
Joker and Batman.
yeah.
Like, hit me.
let's go, come on in.
So they're going to keep that thing flowing until it's just like hanging out there for Trumpy Trump to come get
The
it.
irony is we're letting all that oil come out and they're still making the money and they're still avoiding sanctions. And I learned this like really
What a mess.
interesting thing today too. It was a perspective on sanctions that I found really good because we had talked to Samira Mohedin, when she was on the show, talked about how bad sanctions were. And I've kind of come around on the sanctions. Like, they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Right.
They didn't create a behavior change in the Islamic Republic. And they just, made the people suffer. The problem was the sanctions had all these loopholes in them. Sanctions didn't really have the global support that they needed. If you look at like apartheid, right, and how that happened in South Africa, the whole world was like, we're done. We're divesting.
Yeah.
The whole world never divested from the Islamic Republic. China still bought 80% of their oil. Even during the JCPOA, France was doing deals with the Islamic Republic. So people were still, doing, even when sanctions were lifted, or even some were lifted, when sanctions even happened, stuff was still be able to maneuver outside of that environment.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this situation where we made these sanctions and we're letting them use the loopholes right in front of us.
Right. Because we can't do anything about it. We can't enforce the sanctions.
Because if we enforce the sanctions, we'd be destroying the lives of people trying to afford to put gas in their cars at the pump.
Everywhere, all around the world. And it would be destroying the lifeblood of the economy of the 92 million people in Iran who maybe don't like the regime.
I think there's about 10 to 20% of people in the Islamic Republic that like the regime, right?
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly, they are against the regime.
Still not a lot, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, the United States and Israel doing a really good job to try to level out those numbers.
Lord, I have definitely been reading all about that too, where it's just like this whole war is turning people against the U.S. and Israeli
And that's
alliance.
what always happens when you dump a bunch of airstrikes on a country.
And do it without any justification to the public or to your Congress, to your legislative bodies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing to keep in mind. Besides what Israel did, where they bombed the oil plant where they were storing oil north of Tehran, and the United States and Iran and the Islamic Republic have not actually escalated this to the point where they are blowing up each other's oil production facilities and desalination plants. It is in the ladder of escalation, but besides that one thing that Israel did, which I think United States did not want them to do, this is what we're seeing could potentially happen. And if that happens, you are in an escalation situation where, I feel weird saying this, someone might use a nuke. Because once you start doing that, then it's existential. Then it's like nothing matters.
Wow. And then it goes on Polymarket
because
and somebody bets on it.
Because if the Islamic Republic bombs a desalination plant in Israel, it's a wrap.
Wow.
And then what's the United States going to do? What's Israel going to do? So there's there's like a real weird escalation situation that we're very close to happening now. And I don't like it.
I don't like it anymore either. I don't think I ever did.
I like your beard more than I like the situation.
That's really saying something.
That's a lot.
That's really saying something. This beard is what's going to stop World War III, baby.
Woo! All right. Well, let's take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break. Emotionally, spiritually.
And
I need a
commercially.
vacation on Kharg Island. That's what I need. Go have me a lime and the coconut. Kharg Island. Keep your eyes on Kharg.
Have you been to Ayatollah Frogs on Kharg
I
Island?
hear it's really fun.
I hear it's bumping.
I actually own Ayatollah Frogs. I'm a member.
You are
Look at
the
me.
face of Ayatollah Frogs.
Hi ho there, Curly Frog here. Amphibious military operation. Wow.
We're a very serious geopolitics show, people.
I have nothing else but Muppet quotes.
When we come back, there's a great video that a fan from the UAE actually sent us about someone calling the U.S. State Department's help hotline for people when they said, they told everyone to evacuate. We're going to talk about the Kenyans getting involved in the Ukraine war. And then I don't know after that. We'll see where things take us.
Right.
This is the Foreign Report. I'm Seena. That's the Ayatollah. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Seena Ghaznavi, Travis Irvine, the Sheikh.
Ohio Ayatollah.
The Ohio Ayatollah.
Thank
Fantastic.
you.
We just talked about Kharg Island and the Strait of Hormuz and everything that's happening there. I mean, I'm sure oil prices by the time this episode drops on Thursday
We'll go up and then down and then up again?
probably up, and away.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So I don't know. This is not financial advice. Buy oil.
I should have done that in 2020.
Yeah.
It was $1 then.
I mean, we could have done a lot in 2020. Should have wrote that screenplay. Anyways, there is this. I want to just. This came from one of our amazing fans, and I wanted to play it.
Cool.
So someone, I don't know if you remember, there was that State Department bulletin that went out that was like, hey, if you're in these countries, like, escape. And then they were like, if you need help, call this number.
Oh, right. And then the number didn't work.
Yeah, the number didn't work, but technically the number did work. And this woman called.
It goes to Marco Rubio's cell phone.
Listen to this.
So the U.S. State Department issues this guidance for Americans, and they're like, American citizens living in the Middle East, get out now via any commercial means possible. And we're over here like, my brother in Christ, there are no planes. With what flight are we supposed to get out of the region? And then they issue a new advisory with a number on it. They said, if you need help, call this number. I called the number, and this is what happened.
If you are calling about the crisis in the Middle East, please press 1, not press 2. Please do not rely on the U.S. government for assisted departure or evacuation at this time. There are currently no United States evacuation points. Please continue to check the embassy's website for updated information.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's crazy, dude. And it just stops, and that's it. That's it. Wow. Cool.
That's it.
Great. Yeah,
That's incredible.
That's infuriating, man. That's if I was there, what do you do?
There's something particularly evil about saying, if you're here about the evacuations, press 1.
Right.
And then the message after is, we got nothing.
We got nothing.
We got
You could just press 0. If you have no hope, press 0, and then that's the only option.
All right. So there is obviously.
Thank you for sending.
Thank you. There is obviously more than one war happening. So we want to just touch on some other things that are happening around the world, because this is supposed to be a show about all the stuff that's happening.
Great.
We're getting pummeled by the Iran war, but in the Ukraine war, something really crazy has happened.
Okay.
In February, a Kenyan intelligence report claimed over 1,000 Kenyans had been recruited to fight for Russia, Travis,
Whoa.
in its war against Ukraine, or as they term it, their special operations.
Okay.
Kenyan politicians have described what they say is a network of rogue state officials who have colluded with human trafficking syndicates to recruit Kenyans to fight for Russia.
The only inkling I have on this is that I remember last year, as we ended all our U.S. aid efforts in Africa, Russia and China started to move in with soft power.
Oh, interesting.
So Putin has been building alliances in Africa for, years now.
Point.
Yeah.
So there's a video, and we'll include a lot of this in the show notes for you, but strap in, folks.
Uh-oh.
This is crazy.
Oh, boy.
It all began with a phone call in December 2024. On the other end, a Russian national who introduced himself as Mike, a man we have now established to be Mikhail Lyapin. Investigation show Liapin was operating in Kenya and was in a
a cat
company
guy.
of another Russian national identified as Dmitry, a man said to have links with the Kenyan embassy. Their pitch was direct: recruit young Kenyan men, facilitate their travel to Russia, and deploy them into the Russian army. A deal dressed as opportunity, but one that Red says he immediately knew was dangerous. Still, he took it up.
And then it's like all this whole, we'll include it in the show notes, but then it's like a whole thing where these guys are getting flown to Russia to fight. So after a meeting this week between Kenyan and Russian foreign ministers, Russia, of course, insisted that Kenyans, okay?
Yeah.
The classic Russian ally, Kenya.
Right.
They insisted that these Kenyans signed up on their own volition,
Oh, sure.
but we promise they will no longer be eligible to be enlisted.
Okay.
And they also stated that they would not pay for the repatriation of those currently in Ukraine. For context, Ukraine estimates more than 1,750 people from 36 different African countries are currently fighting in Ukraine.
That's bonkers. So that taps into what we were talking about a year ago. Just this Putin going to all these low African countries and giving them soft power aid. And then secretly, he was recruiting people for his military the whole time.
Because we've said it the whole time. It's a war of attrition. How many Russians could possibly they get to get into this war? And now we know
They're
what
running
they're doing.
out of Russians.
They've run out of Russians. They're going to Africa.
Right. Wow. Oh, man.
And again, this is what happens. I'm so happy you brought up USAID. Yeah. Like when we retreat, we allow others to get in. And China, what they've been doing is like building roads and stuff like that. They do it.
They've been doing infrastructure for
Yeah.
African countries, South American, Central American.
Russia, though,
it's just military stuff. They're like, we'll give you all these weapons. Give me 100 guys.
Oh, my Lord. I mean, it just takes your breath away.
That's bonkers. But yeah, somehow, from where we've been on this show for the last year, it kind of checks out.
So there was another story that I wanted to bring up today that we actually just posted, was just in our chat today. Yeah, this is about Iran again, but I mean, what isn't? But this was like something that just came out today that I wanted to bring up. The National Counterterrorism Center Director Joe Kent just resigned. Said he couldn't support Israel's alleged pressure to continue the war with Iran. He's saying Iran posed no imminent threat.
Wow. So this is back to Iran, but this is got a little domestic policy, it's foreign policy.
Exactly. So one of the United States' top counterterrorism officials has resigned, citing the Trump administration's handling of the Iran war and alleged pressure from Israel. Joe Kent, the director of national counterterrorism, announced his resignation Tuesday morning on social media, saying Iran, quote, posed no imminent threat. He said, quote, "It is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby." Earlier in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage war with Iran. Wow. So that's a quick one.
Yeah.
And related to that, I want to talk about what's happening in the UK.
Ooh.
It must have felt good in some ways, possibly terrifying in other ways, considering who they're dealing with. But with the war in Iran, European leaders are finally getting an opportunity to stick it to Trump.
Oh.
So the German defense minister, who is a big Trump supporter, refusing to help out. Because, you know, Trump is saying to the NATO countries, you need to help out now, which is ironic because he was like, you guys are useless.
You're on your own.
You're on your own.
Yeah,
blah,
you're
blah,
on
blah.
your own with Russia, but now I need your help with Iran.
Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, he refused to allow the U.S. to launch their initial strikes on Iran from British bases. And so that was like a huge thing. And here's the spokesperson from Germany, the government spokesperson, Stefan Cornelius, stated, quote, "Neither the United States nor Israel consulted us before the war, and Washington explicitly stated at the outset of the war that European assistance was neither necessary nor desired." And the defense minister, Boris Pistorius, added, quote, "What does Donald Trump expect a handful of or two handfuls of European frigates to do in the Strait of Hormuz that the powerful U.S. Navy cannot do? This is not our war. We have not started it."
Wow.
This is so good. And of course, Trump has a response.
Oh, I bet he does.
Sources tell CNN that U.S. officials spent the weekend trying to rally support from foreign allies, hoping that they could announce a coalition soon. But today, almost in the same breath of calling for help, Trump is insisting that he doesn't need anyone else to get the job done.
I don't do a telling them because my attitude is we don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them. But it's interesting.
But
Doing it in some cases, not because we need them, but because I want to find out how they react.
all right, I want to find out how they react. Buddy, you're in a war that you're technically losing.
Oof. Wow.
The bombs are dropping and they are exploding, but you were supposed to wrap this up real quick. This is now well into the third week of this war, and there is no end in sight. You should be having them at the negotiating table right now so that you could wrap this up in a week. But no, this is going to go on.
Yeah. No, this is exactly. Somebody had something they posted online about. Imagine if you threw a war and nobody came.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it feels right now. I mean, even with the war in Iraq, we had Tony Blair.
Yes.
We had Spain, and that was it. But we still had like two other countries as opposed to, I mean, I guess it's a U.S.-Israel operation right now.
Was it the Freedom Coalition?
Freedom Coalition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was Tony Blair, and he wore a sweater, and he's like, hello.
Hello.
I'll help you with your war.
All right. And then I want to do one more because I was supposed to talk about this last week,
Sure.
but Ecuador.
All right. We're bouncing around.
I know,
but
I'm
we're
sorry.
bringing it back to the hemisphere.
Okay. Ecuador.
Uh-huh.
We have been doing military operations in Ecuador.
How many countries have we started wars in?
I was laughing about it because I just realized again last week I was like, oh my God, this war has taken up so much oxygen in the room. We didn't talk about the U.S. going into another country,
Right.
And now I was almost going to do it again, but I can't.
Okay. Here we go.
So at this time, U.S. forces are acting in an advisory role as they go after designated terrorist organizations. So this is technically a joint military operation with Ecuador, Travis.
Okay.
Okay, but we're going after these narco-terrorists again.
Oh, right. I remember them from a few months ago.
So Ecuadorian troops are carrying out operations and we're advising them. But while this seems insane, Ecuador has actually been one of the biggest supporters of Trump's unilateral actions against the narco-terrorists, which to date have killed at least 150 people in 44 or more strikes.
Okay.
Proof has yet to be provided for any of this stuff.
Okay.
And if you're just in Trump's camp, you don't really need proof.
No.
Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa has not been shy about his admiration for Trump and has openly sought Trump's support in his own war against drugs. And drugs and its related violence are a serious issue in Ecuador, which, although it does not actually produce cocaine, has become its leading exporter, acting as the hub, the Kharg Island, if you will, and launch point for cocaine produced in the region. It's not, I get it. But the Ecuadorian Interior Minister recently stated, "We are at war," and warned people to stay home after a curfew in certain provinces went into effect.
Wow.
There's a lot of mixed feelings. I know there's some people in Ecuador that are like, listen, just do it. Clean it up. The violence is really bad. And then there's other people that are like, hey, this violence is only going to get worse, or these people are coming in, like you do these operations. So something to be mindful of. And it's difficult to say, if you're Ecuador, you really don't have a standing army in the sense of like, you don't have the intelligence capabilities, you don't have the, know-how to like do a lot of the things you need to do to defend your people. So what do?
I don't know.
You ask the United States, I guess.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, like Trump just said, we're the biggest army. We can go anywhere. They're going everywhere.
We are going
everywhere.
Everywhere. And now we didn't even talk about Cuba.
Oh, no. Let's save that for next week.
We're going to talk
about
about
Cuba.
Cuba.
I have a feeling that's not over anytime soon either.
I don't understand.
Isn't the entire nation without power right now?
They have very little power. It's a real problem because they were getting a lot of their oil from Venezuela.
Oh, boy.
Here is I also just, everyone needs to keep this in the back of their mind. Xi in China is just like, maybe I'll just walk into Taiwan.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you were saying, Mersheimer was saying our whole military is in the Gulf or right around it trying to get in. And if you're China, you just be like, boy, their military. Even if you're Putin in Russia, you're like, boy, U.S. military is pretty strained right now.
We're moving all of these assets. We're all those
it's like in the game of Risk. You play Risk?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh man, I think me and my nephews are going to play Risk this weekend in Vegas when I go to visit. But that is literally what the game is. You move all your armies, and then all of a sudden, this little guy, you got one little guy defending Madagascar. You'll lose Madagascar.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So we are strained. We are stretched. We're everywhere and anywhere. And our actual adversaries, even though they may be, in theory, losing some oil, but they're actually not. They're just swapping it around illegally. They're just like, they must be salivating right now.
Exactly. Thank you, Travis.
Woo.
Salivating.
Yeah.
Well, that was a beefy
I'm salivating right now.
I'm
from all that beef.
I'm salivating for this commercial break so we can get to some lighter stuff.
Yeah, well, I got bad news on that too.
Oh, come on. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with everyone's favorite, the JD Vance Corner. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Seena Ghaznavi, Travis Irvine, the Ayatollah, the Ohio Ayatollah.
Many people say I'm the Kharg Island of the comedy on this show. Thank you very much, folks. It's time for everyone's favorite and also not favorite segment of the show.
Give him a chance, it's JD Vance. No, wait, he sucks.
Club Remix, ladies and gentlemen. Club Remix, ladies and gentlemen. I love that me saying that is in there, and then I'm just going to say it again anyway. JD Vance, talking about Iran, baby.
Yeah.
Many people say JD's the Kharg Island of resistance to the Iran war within the Trump administration.
Is he resisting?
I just feel this analogy will still work about Kharg Island. I also secretly love to say Kharg Island. So let's play this clip. JD got straight up asked at an event in North Carolina.
The IG one?
Yes. And this comes to us again from fans who, thank you as always for sending me your JD Vance clips. This also did pop up in hometown Ohio newspaper, Cleveland.com, the plain dealer. So yes, we're in Iran. JD Vance was always America first, and we remember from the Signal Gate chats that he was like, yo, we should not bomb Iran. He said this last year. Now we're in there. We're in there pretty deep, as we've covered on this show. So JD Vance was straight up asked about what did he say to the administration when he was drinking his little Diet Mountain Dew about these types of invasions, these types of military excursions. There's so many different semantics we can use for these operations, these friendly jaunts into Iran. And he was asked, and this is what makes me upset about this clip. JD Vance handles it. But let's play the clip and see his non-answer, and then we'll discuss what this means.
What did you advise the president initially as he considered his actions in Iran, and what are you urging him to do now, especially with Americans seeing higher prices at the pump and some of the fallout from that across the economy? Do you express any concerns like those you've expressed in the past on the possibility of these extended wars?
This is a good question.
Bill, I appreciate the question. I know you guys have to ask it, but imagine the situation. We're in the situation room where you can't even take your iPod in there or your AirPods.
Oh, you got an iPod, do you?
You can't take your iPhone in there. You can't take anything in there because it is the most classified space anywhere in the world. And I sit there with
Susie
Pete
Wiles
Hegseth
can have
and
an
General
Apple
Kane
Watch
and Marco Rubio and the entire White House team, and the president and I and the entire senior team are talking about the options and about what we need to do and about how we must best protect the American people. I hate to disappoint you, but I'm not going to show up here and in front of God and everybody else tell you exactly what I said in that classified room, partially because I don't want to go to prison, and partially because I think it's important for the president of the United States to be able to talk to his advisors without those advisors running their mouth to the American media.
All right. So he gets an applause. It's a friendly crowd, and he does the thing where he doesn't answer it, but then he turns it on the media. How dare you ask me a question like that? I'm not going to answer it. But the non-answer says a lot.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you what I said, because what did he say?
Nothing.
There's two things. He either was opposed to it, and everyone told him to shut the hell up and go sit at the kiddie table with his Diet Mountain Dew.
Yep.
Or he didn't say anything because he was already sent to the kiddie table with the Diet Mountain Dew.
Do you think he did express...
I mean, you can look at, old quotes that literally, we were talking the weeks past, the Tim Dillon's show, things that J.D. Vance was going on in 2024. I mean, he even said about Iraq and Iran as far back as 2023, and he was still just a senator from Ohio. And they asked him about authorizing use of force in Iran, and he was unambiguous back in 2023. He said, absolutely not. I think that we should be trying to de-escalate the situation, and he called a direct strike on the Iranian mainland a mistake, straight up. So unambiguous a few years ago, and now he's in this administration, and this is what they're doing. And then even again on March 2nd, when Fox asked him about the strikes, he said there's no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective, which is so insane.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a non-answer. He's straight up flipping it, and we don't have an objective, and there is no end in sight. And 1,000-year war? I mean, Huckabee, that's how far some of these people are taking it.
I was trying to think if this war is going to last the whole year.
I'm over here already saying it's 1,000 years. That's what, I said last week when Jake Young and I talked politics here in the hallways of Last Podcast Network. I have already glibly started referring to this as, it'll just be a brief 1,000 years war, Jacob.
I just don't see the extended beyond this year war seems tough because we're so close to it escalating very quickly. And then what do you do between here and the escalation ladder?
Right. I see what you mean. Well, but then the escalation would be so big, then does it take 1,000 years to clean it up or finish it?
Well, don't even get me started on the cleanup. Already, when the hit that has been done to oil production is going to take months to fix.
Right.
So, if you think if this thing stops next week, oil prices are going to regulate back. No, they won't be able to get.
We've opened Pandora's box.
They won't be able to
the
fix
toothpaste
the oil
is out
flow
of the tube
for months.
I don't know how many more analogies I can come up with what's happened. But
you cannot unmix the Jello.
Yes, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Sometimes.
Oh, you can? Oh, that's right. If you know the password. Yeah. I've seen Aladdin.
Yeah, it's my uncle told me. Anyways,
either way, and Cleveland.com summed it up. Whether Vance made similar arguments as he has in the past, privately or different ones before the bombs fell, we don't know because he's keeping that between himself, the president, and the Situation Room.
But J.D. Vance is nowhere to be found. What do you think about J.D. Vance right now?
Well, they rolled him out for that thing in North Carolina, and that's what was interesting. It's for weeks, I've had no JD updates. He's quiet. He's at the kiddie table with his little Diet Mountain Dew. And then finally they roll him out and they're like, okay, so what are you saying behind the scenes? And I'm like, I'm not going to go to prison, and giving coy answers like that in front of a friendly crowd. But it's still a non-answer, Seena. That, I think, begs the question again. Is he the Kharg Island of mediocrity and just not having a purpose in this administration anymore?
When do candidates generally announce that they're running for office?
After the midterms. You got to see how the midterms go. If we even have midterms, which is a whole nother debate that could happen.
Man, I guess that's one of those things I'm naive about, where I just am we're definitely going to have midterms. I don't see him canceling the midterms.
But then you say things like that, and then by Friday it's I'm canceling the midterms. I've been given unilateral authority over all elections. Isn't that nice? Man. The bottom of the sea.
I think I'm just going to go do leg day now.
Honestly, that's what we need. And get outdoors and enjoy the fresh air for now, because especially here in California, we know those Iranian drones are coming up soon, baby. I've watched your videos, and I know that I will be taking a vacation to Kharg Island. Get me a coconut.
All right, guys, that's the show. Sign up for the newsletter on foreignreportshow.com. Man, this was, wow.
Beefy all over the world.
Beefy today, guys. Thank
Almost
you so
beefier
much.
than our legs.
Yeah, Travis really appreciates the comments. I don't know. I've never seen a comment. I don't know where does this show go even?
I don't know. I don't know either,
We'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much.